These 6 drawers were done in the Adeline Finish, which is a dupe of Sausalito. Here's a close-up of one of the drawers so you can see the kind of detail that's coming through. Really quite gorgeous. The Sausalito Finish is a Pottery Barn finish that's been duped many times. Here's one of my drawers next to a more solid turquoise piece with the handle on it, and then you'll see one in the top drawer of a piece that I'm currently working on. The finish that I do does not require gel stain. It does not take 3 days to dry, and we're going to start now. What I'm going to start with is just giving you the recipe on how to do this, so you don't have to watch the full tutorial if you don't want to, but in case you want to see me go through every step in near real time so that you can feel more comfortable doing it yourself, then you are welcome to stay on past that. What you're going to want is water-based polyurethane, 2 different colors of paint, shellac, foam brushes, and regular brushes or a chip brush, in addition to a hard plastic bristle hand broom brush. I got mine at Dollar Tree. You can get them wherever brooms are sold. The 2 colors of paint that you want is one that is beige-ish with a peach undertone. The second one is just under, just a little bit lighter than medium brown, like a dark tan, and that's if you're doing it on a piece that is pretty dark like the one that I'm working on here. The first coat is not going to be either of those paints though, but the combination of paint and water-based polyurethane matters. You're going to want 1 ounce of water-based polyurethane with 2 ounces of the beige peachish paint and a ½ ounce of floetrol, preferable, not absolutely required, but I would really recommend it. And then the same ratio for the brown or dark tan will be 1 ounce water-based polyurethane, 2 ounces of the interior dark tan paint, and a ½ ounce of floetrol if you can. The first coat that you're going to put on this for the finish is going to be shellac. The second coat that you're going to put after adequate dry time in between each of these stages will be a beige that has a leaning peach. When you put that beige on, you're going to drag your broom through it to pull up some of it. In the recording here, I have a damaged drawer that I'm fixing. So you drag through that beige broom, or beige peach with the broom, and then after adequate dry time, you go back in with the dark tan and drag the brush through that as well. As you see on video right here, there's a white dust that's kicking up. That's indicative of a finish from a manufacturer. The finish on these drawers is a faux finish. It's just a very popular manufactured faux finish, and so people think it's what mahogany finish looks like, but it's not. It's a manufactured faux finish in essence, and we're going to do a different kind of faux finish, starting with, as I said, that shellac first up. In this instance, the shellac is going to act as a clear primer, and it's also going to prevent bleed through. The shellac is thin, and so you want to be sure you're not having a lot of drips and sags when you put this on. It's also going to harden pretty quickly, so that's why I would recommend you use a foam brush. It will destroy other brushes, so it's good to use a foam brush, and then you can just toss that brush after. The shellac is, as I said, it's a clear primer, and so when we're dragging the brush through it later, we're going to be pulling up enough of the paint to see the color underneath that dark brown. This is a piece that I had been working on. If you had seen me working on it before, I just want to show you I didn't go back with some shellac on different parts, and also the drawer front there, same method that I'm using here. This finish, Sausalito style, is starting with that beige leaning peach as I'm showing here. And the application to begin with does not need to be perfect because we're going to be dragging through it with that plastic bristled broom. The first drawer that I'm doing, you see there's 7 drawers here, and I'm doing nightstands, which are 6 drawers. This had been a desk. I've converted it into 2 nightstands, and I'm starting with the drawer that would normally go in the middle of the desk. because I want to make sure that I know what I'm doing, and I would recommend that you do the same thing so that you have a feel for exactly what finished product you want, and you can decide based on the first piece that you do, no matter what scrap material you're using, how you want to proceed from there. I'd really recommend you try it out on a piece that's not going to matter that much to you in the end. As you can see, I didn't apply the paint thoroughly, evenly on all of it because I don't want to. I want to create depth, I want to create some differences, and while I want to do that, there's kind of a range of change that I want to stay within so that there's a bit of uniformity. The look that I have there, where I'm pulling it up as it's kind of getting a little sticky, is what I'm going for, except for at the very bottom of it, it was a little too much had been removed for me, so I'll be applying more paint onto it and then using the broom again. What I want to mention about the difference between this and the gel stain is gel stain gives you a lot of open working time, and it can take days to dry. Here's what the first coat of what I'm doing is going to look like there. Gel stain, as I said, can give you days to dry, and we're going in with the dark tan and a chip brush. That gel stain finish looks lovely at the end, but I personally don't have that much space to wait around for the gel stain to be finished, and I feel comfortable doing this finish fairly quickly, which I have to. You're going to see this top drawer I do in 3 different pieces because the dry time is so quick. It's advantageous in some ways because it allows that plastic bristled hand broom to pull up the colors to make the kind of depth that I'm looking for. So the colors we're going to have in this, it's going to be that deep brown of the finish the manufacturer put on it, and then the clear coat of shellac won't show through, but when we pull up the paint, we'll be exposing the shellac, which is clear enough that you'll see the dark brown under it, and so that'll be with the beigey peach, and then the primary color that I have here, this tan, is going on top as the final colored coating, and it is really the majority of what you're going to see, but the details in it matter, and using all of these colors to create that detail is important. After you apply this dark tan with a chip brush, if you want, there you can see I'm picking out little pieces of the bristles, and if you have good lighting you can check for those. Otherwise you might just want to use a higher quality brush. The deep tan, after it goes on, I'm going to need to wait for about a minute before I can really drag the hard plastic bristles through and have that pull up enough paint to make the finish look kind of like what I'm going for. You should do this on a scrap piece before you go directly to the piece that you want to work on, because your experience is going to be different. You have different humidity level, different heat. The color of paint that you're using is probably going to be slightly different in the material that you're working with. So there are enough different options for your situation that I really encourage you to mock up a piece to begin with, and that is what I'm doing here, as you see. I will admit that for me this is unnecessary as a step because I know what's coming next and I know the way that I want this finish to look. The top coat, after all of this is done, is admittedly not necessary. I have created this faux finish and not done a top coat and had it be incredibly durable. This is partially water-based polyurethane, which is a top coat in and of itself. Shellac is also a top coat in and of itself. So our first coat being shellac is a top coat. Our next coat containing polyurethane is partially a top coat, so is the next one. But for the sake of, oh, and here's, yesterday it's passing the scratch test. I had done a mock-up board, and the 12 hours later it was already passing the scratch test. So I'm going to go ahead and go on to the 6 drawers that I'll be actually using, and I'll be applying it, as you see, the same way that I applied it to the other one, except for at this point I'm a little more comfortable going faster, and in going faster it's actually the paint can't keep up with me. It takes a little while for it to get tacky enough to where if you were normally painting you might feel like you were kind of overworking the paint, which is something we want to go for here so that we can pull up enough of the paint to show that dark underneath, and that really creates the depth that we want. So the way that I'll be covering it is I'll do one drawer front and pull the broom through, and then I'll go to the prior drawer front and pull the broom through again. I found this to be the best way to move forward as quickly as possible, which is part of why I don't want to be using gel stain, is because I do want to move forward as quickly as possible. And it also gave me an appreciation for how effective the method is in faux finishing. Any faux finishing tutorial that you watch, for the most part, is gonna have gel stain. If it's the Pottery Barn Sausalito finish, this is the only one that I'm aware of that allows you to complete these steps within the day, and you don't have to wait for that dry time. I've got the first Sausalito coating on that one drawer, and I'm gonna go on to the second one. It is such a beautiful finish, and once I wait a minute for the deep tan to dry, I'm dragging the hard plastic bristle brush through pretty hard so that I can pull up enough of the paint to get through the peaches beige that's underneath and get through to that dark brown. The tan color that's going on top, as I've stated, is going to be the primary color, but how much depth, how much character, how much is going on in this kind of finish is really lovely, and there's a reason why it's become so popular. It's not just Pottery Barn Sausalito. This is a style of finish that has become a new look in and of itself. It's not just a wood look, it's a very popular one, and when you get up close to it and you see all the detail that's available, especially at this point we're using the deep brown, the beige, the dark tan, so we have several colors that have a lot of interplay with each other, and also the brush brings some dimension to it by literally creating a 3D experience when you're looking at it. It is quite lovely to see in person. It plays on camera fairly well, but it's really the in-person experience that shows you how fantastic this finish can be. Congratulations to Pottery Barn on being the first, but they're not going to be the last, and gel stain's not the only option. This polyurethane and water-based paint combination works very well for me, and I'm happy to give you the information about that top coat. I use General Finishes High Performance in flat. As I said, you don't have to necessarily do this step. I have had great success without doing this step, but I want this piece to be very, very close to indestructible. And so in addition to the shellac, which is a top coat, in addition to the polyurethane, which is a top coat, I'm going to be adding General Finishes, which is a fantastic top coat. If you like this video and you like the material that I'm providing, then if you click like, that would be likable. I would like that. If you don't, I don't know why you're still watching, but that's okay. The top coat of General Finishes that I use, I'm going to go back and do a second top coat as well before I move on to the body of the piece, but I'm only going to be showing the first top coat that I put on it. I figure you know what it looks like to put on a top coat. General Finishes is award-winning, and their top coat feels to me a little thinner than water-based polyurethane, but thicker than shellac. They recommend a generous layer is put on it, and I recommend that you read their instructions, because as I've said before, the people that manufacture these products really do take into consideration what they're saying when they provide instructions, and those instructions matter. Dry time, most especially, is something that I want you to try to pay attention to, because they're not wasting your time when they say 2 hours or when they say 4 hours. They really have a reason behind that. And after this top coat dries to a flat, it looks so beautiful. Let's check it. The bodies of these pieces are not finished, but the drawer fronts is what I want you to be looking at, because that's the finish that I've been showing you. How much depth is there? How beautiful it looks, and without being entirely uniform, it's very cohesive still. I'm very proud of it. Click like. See you next time.